What's good, people? We got a Ask FP. This one's a little short because we had a short week because we came in with Ask FP late last week, so that's forcing you guys didn't get that many questions in, but it's understandable. But the question of the week this week is from my man Matt Price. He said, "What does the lackluster sales of NBA Live 16, especially compared to Live 15 and 2K16, mean for Live going forward?" So I don't know if you guys have seen the reports that Live 16 hasn't sold as well as obviously EA Sports would have hoped. So what does that mean for the franchise? I really don't know. Will there be a Live 17? I'm pretty sure it will be. But EA Sports has been known to pull the plug on stuff here and there. My personal opinion, I believe that EA Sports should transform Live into a free-to-play game where it is, on Xbox Live, Arcade, or whatever it's called these days, PSN, whatever, where it's strictly just the Pro-Am version. Just go straight Pro-Am. Don't put a full game out or anything like that, because Pro-Am was very good. There's aspects of it that was even better than 2K's Pro-Am, once 2K's Pro-Am got up and running. Go with it just like that. You have some add-ons and some things like that you can do for microtransactions if people want to upgrade some stuff. And then also, if they want to, you can sell in-game advertising to make revenue that way. I think that's the best approach for EA Sports with Live. Will Breedlove says, is Anthony Davis the next Tim Duncan? And if you look at Duncan in his prime, he played a lot like Anthony Davis. I would have to disagree there, Will. Both are great, but Anthony Davis is extremely athletic. And Tim Duncan has never been a great athlete. He's always done most of what he's done with skill and just having a technically sound game and a very high basketball IQ. I think Anthony Davis's basketball IQ is fairly high, as well as his skill level is definitely high. But I think his ceiling is actually even higher than Duncan's because of the athleticism. So they don't really remind me of each other more. I guess there's some correlation between them, but I think Anthony Davis is more Kevin Garnett than he is Tim Duncan. Matt Price also says, are athletes better now or just better educated? I'm not sure I know where you're going exactly or what you mean by that question, Matt. Are they better players? Are they better performers, is what you're saying, or what? I do think athletically, guys are bigger, stronger, faster than they used to be before. I mean, the numbers don't lie when you look at the size of players today. Every single team just about in the NBA has a 7-footer. I mean, and if they don't, it's because they just didn't choose to have one. They chose to play small. 30, 40 years ago, 7-footers were a rarity. And not only are we having 7-footers, we're having big, agile 7-footers, not big, plodding 7-footers like we used to see back in the day. So I think athletes are just better. Doesn't mean they're more skilled, but athletically they're better. Matthew J. Price also says, is the amount of revenue Commissioner Goodell is bringing into the NFL ultimately saving his job? I definitely think that obviously has something to do with it. That's the bottom line for these owners most of the time, is making money. Even when they decide they want to win, one of the main reasons they want to win is because winning brings them a certain amount of cash because of the revenue that comes along with success. So if Commissioner Goodell is truly spearheading, financial advancement or sustaining, a certain amount of help, sustaining a certain amount of wealth in this particular business venture for the owners, that's definitely one of the biggest reasons why he's still in his position. But I don't know how long that's going to be able to continue to go on, because he gets a ton of bad press, and some of his mistakes may ultimately end up costing the league money. So at that point, he's going to be expendable. Matt Price again says, wrestling is a cyclical business, but do you see it ever getting as popular as it was in the 90s? That's a really interesting question, Matt. One of the main reasons is because I've been playing this 2K showcase, right, on WWE 2K16. And when you look at the storylines, the development of the storylines and things that were going on back then, I mean, man, it was just better. I'm not a person that thinks that they had to go back to being super raw, nasty, saying, a bunch of stuff that's going to get them in trouble with sponsors and all that. I don't think it has to get raw as much as the storylines just have to get more original. The storylines have to be developed better. And then also, they need to potentially start going for some guys who may not be as great in the ring, but are greater, that are better on the microphone. Very rarely do you see the two meet. Very rarely do you see a guy like The Rock, who is physically gifted, an athlete, and great on the microphone. Now, The Rock was never Bret Hart in the ring in regards to as a technician, but at least he could do several moves or he could do several things. His action in the ring would look good because he's a great athlete. So, but that's a rarity. Matt Price says, which league would benefit more from contraction? MLB, NHL, NBA, or the NFL? Probably the NHL, in my opinion. I don't think MLB or NBA or NFL struggle with popularity at this point. So there's no reason to, people are not crying about the talent being watered down, so to speak. I mean, yes, the NBA, they have their issues in terms of, teams that tank and all that sort of thing. But overall, the NBA is doing great. The NHL is the league that is trying to really establish itself as one of the big four, or making it a big four. And I think maybe contraction might help them. Sharuk Rahat says Ronda Rousey has said, excuse me, that she wants to come to the WWE and win this Divas title. How would the locker room react? Well, one of the big things, when she first get there, they're not going to like her. That's just automatically the case. But she has the type of attitude that will probably be able to handle that. But the other thing that could damage her in regards to getting along with the girls in the locker room and even the guys is if she's a part-time star, which I don't think she's going to put down movies altogether. But if she's a part-time star, obviously the locker room doesn't necessarily embrace those superstars that go that route. But there's no question the amount of money she's bringing to the WWE, so they'll let her do just about probably whatever she wants to do. So I think those two factors would be big. Jared Young says, are Dwayne Wade and Dwight Howard still elite? Well, I don't think Dwayne Wade is still elite, but I do think Dwight Howard is still elite. And here's the reason why. Somebody might be saying, what? But if you think about it, what does it really take to be an elite center in the NBA these days? There's not a ton of great centers, right? Now, I'm not slighting Dwight Howard because I still believe he is one of the biggest difference makers in the middle. But I don't think there's a question he's still a top 5 center. There's a serious question whether or not Dwayne Wade is still a top 5 shooting guard, simply because the competition at the position is much stiffer. So I think you have to be a top 3 to 5 player at your position to be considered elite, and I don't think Dwayne Wade is still on that level. Jared Young also says NBA Defensive Player of the Year prediction. For me, I mean, I know DeAndre is right there, and DeAndre Jordan of the Clippers is right there, but there's a guy right now who I think is gonna, if he doesn't win this year, he's gonna win next year. But I'm gonna pick him to win this year, and it's Rudy Gobert of Utah. Rudy Gobert is a ridiculous shot blocking presence in the middle. I think right now he's second in the NBA in block shots behind DeAndre, and he's also, I believe, second or third in rebounding. I believe DeAndre is ahead of him in there, or maybe it's Andre Drummond. It might be Andre Drummond and DeAndre ahead of him. But if you look at defensively, Utah does a great job defensively as a unit. That's basically the only way they're able to stay in games. And when you take the best defensive player off of one of the best defensive teams and you look at him, that gives that guy a good edge for that particular award. And I don't know. I think he's going to win it. Kenny Lacey says, do you plan on making a draft class this year? I've been tossing it around. I think I found my niche with the Legends thing, but I do like making the draft classes. But I don't think people necessarily dig my philosophy on the draft class. I think they more like what Embrace the Pace does, who basically he kind of orders the rankings based off of where they are drafted. At least his second draft class goes that way. And I more like to take a an approach of looking at their statistics and having a formula and rating them whatever I rate them without any really attention to where they were drafted, because a guy can go number one, and this is, I'm not saying his way is wrong, I'm just explaining my way. A guy can be drafted number one or number two and be the 25th best player in the rookie class. We don't know. So my approach is, here's my prediction for what these guys will be, as opposed to just automatically assuming, okay, you went number one, you got to be an 81. You went number two, you got to be an 80. You went number three, you got to be a 79. You know, I just don't want to do it that way, but we'll see. We'll see. Will Breedlove is back. He says, so far, who is the bust in the NBA so far this rookie season? In my opinion, it's both Porzingis and Mudiay. Heck, we all KP is. I would have corrected. I wasn't sure what you meant there, Will, but I'd have to disagree on both ends. I think Mudiay is a legit Rookie of the Year candidate if you look at his statistics. Yeah, he's turning the ball over, but that was expected. But from a scoring and assist standpoint, I think he's making an impact on a team where he's going to get the ball all the time. Porzingis has looked really good in flashes, so I'm not sure why you would call him a bust at all. I thought he's looked impressive when he's been out there. He did hurt his neck a couple nights ago. We'll see how serious that is for the rest of the season. But yeah, neither one of those guys would be a bust in my opinion. And overall, it's way too. We're talking about 3-4 games into the season. You can't call anybody a bust yet. I mean, it's way too early. Simon Torve Sunland says, do you think that Mourinho will be sacked as Chelsea manager soon? What I understand is that the last 2 games on Chelsea's schedule, it pretty much will determine his fate. I mean, there's obviously a lot of talent on that roster. Abramovich has a decision to make, but Mourinho doesn't help himself by being, haughty with the media. He's got people on the roster fighting each other. People are upset with him, even though you did hear them say that the players were behind him. I don't know if I believe that. He's gotten the dreaded vote of confidence. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's just about probably a given he's going to be relieved of his duties. I mean, Chelsea getting relegation at this point is just like, oh my God, that's a smack in the face. So we'll see. Simon Torve Sunland says, do you think that the Pacers are capable of playing small ball? I think it's possible. I don't like putting Paul George at power forward. I think that puts a little bit too much pressure on him physically, especially coming off a major injury. I just don't think that's a smart thing to do. And on top of that, I like Ian Mahinmi as a center. Now, he's not a big, bulky center. He is more of an athletic kind of guy. But I think he can pass as a legit center. And I like him getting some more minutes in the middle as opposed to trying to play small too often. So that's my deal there. So I appreciate you guys watching. That's the end of this joint. God bless. Peace.